It's time for the dating process to begin. Right now, at this brunch, I want y'all to start asking each other out. Go check out each other's houses. Go in the bathroom.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is. We're giving you guys a review of Ready to Love. Now I know things might seem strange. Let me know if I'm out of order for stepping to you this way. See, I've been watching you for a while. Kimber, let me know, cause I'm really feeling your style. Let's get into the video. Are you mad? Are you mad? Are you lean? Listen, for those who are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. For those who are returnees, you ain't got the minerals. You ain't got the minerals, baby. Listen, are you mad? Are you mad? Are you lean? Gege, let's get into the review. Let's talk about it, because my first thing I'm going to talk about is London and Devyne and London and Alexis. My gosh, it's getting tasty and it's getting tasty. Yeah. Kimber, I love you, baby. That note was slightly off, Kimber, but it's because you make me nervous, isn't it? Alright, cool. Alright, boom. Let's talk about London and Devyne. So, boom, 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 boom. London and Devyne, I love these two together. I think they are probably a good match. But the only thing is, London be playing and London be enjoying what he enjoying, you understand? But it was really interesting because when the storyline was arcing to Mario and Tondi, they were in the backdrop, London and Devyne, and you can see London just behind Devyne, I think it was, or whatever. See how close they were, see how intimate they were kind of being, and they already broken the physical space anyway in the last episode when Devyne actually pulled his hand and put it on her chest. So already they've broken that barrier of physical space, and they've broken the barrier of touching. Okay, and one thing you need to understand about people, this is one of the things I said about knowing when someone likes you. Listen, man, them. When a girl closes a space and is able to touch you, more than likely she potentially might like you. Why? Because she's closed the space and she's got physical with you. Now, if you can't do that, it's probably a good sign that she ain't feeling you, my guy. Now, there are girls who probably don't do physical touch very well. We understand that. But we're talking about the general consensus. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, back to what I'm talking about London Devyne. So that was quite interesting. But obviously, I noticed that behaviour is not singled out to Devyne. So London does that with Alexis too. They close the gap, they become intimate, they become physical as well. Not sexually, but I'm talking about in terms of their body language and how they are very tactile, very touchy with one another. It's London, maybe it's London's, maybe it's London's love language, but he's very tactile when it comes to people, and I've noticed that as well. So it was interesting because later on, he comes in the room, I think it's in a mixer, and he says behind Devyne, he says, "You smell like loyalty and honesty." And it was interesting because, because he didn't make a sexual comment. And all throughout the episode, we see Devyne taking some comments, especially from Terrell, which I thought was so odd and bemusing. And I'll go into the Terrell thing actually. Let me even touch about that. Watch Devyne and Terrell. I think because I've always said this. Listen, a comment that's made that is sexual, yeah, from the right person, it's a rap. From the wrong person, it's creepy. It's like that. Do you understand? Because it's the wrong person. Simple as, yeah. But when I watched Terrell and Devyne, it was quite interesting. Devyne was defensive from the shot we see straight away. Devyne is defensive, yeah. Now she's not defensive in the face, but she's defensive in the body language. Her hands come onto the table and she's clasping it like a dude. So she's showing aggressive behavior, almost like an aggressive behavior. And I'll give you an example. I won't say aggressive, but she's showing a certain posture that she's showing is like, I'm not open to this, right? And it's funny because, interestingly enough, Mike did a similar posture when he was talking to her on the one-to-one conversation, right? Putting her hands on the table and kind of clasping. But she didn't do that with Mike, and she's not done that with London either. So again, watching that behavior, she never does that. She never puts her hands together on the table like that with other guys. She tries to behave as ladylike as possible, because that is an action that normally males kind of make, right? Hands on the table, locked together, interwoven hands. That's something that males usually do. So to see her do that with Terrell, let me know instantly she wasn't feeling my man, yeah? Not only that, for then Terrell then to make a comment as he did. Listen, you make the first comment that, he made the first comment about, you got two twins in the back, yeah? Now, she knew exactly what he was saying, yeah? Now, if you left it at that, there was chance of recovery. There was a chance to just make it as a nice little joke and a gesture. But once he kept going on and on, he did it. He said about 3-4 different comments about it, and just kind of became very blasé about the fact that he's just sexualizing her and just viewing her as a sexual object. At that point, Devyne was completely done. You understand? Because you have to understand, number one, you weren't the right person to kind of give that comment anyway. Number two, you were very blasé about looking at her bum and then just describe, and almost like all that you've seen about her is the body, the vessel, and that actually is quite rude. It's rude. It says that you don't value her mind, you don't value her opinion, you don't value what she can bring to the table. All you value is the body, and that for a woman who is of stature, who has an intellect, who's more than just having sex and just her tun, yeah, will be offended to the hills. In fact, she'll be disgusted because she has used more than just her body. She's got a mind that works. You understand? And so with Terrell doing that, it was such a shame to see him do that. And I think it's something that I've learned about life, which is, you know what, you present a certain narrative when you talk in a certain way, and you present a certain, you've put a certain image of yourself by talking a certain way. Words are so powerful. Yeah, they're so powerful, and you've got to be very careful how you use them. Because obviously as well, Terrell said, I think later on somewhere, he said, that he's a gentleman. Well, a gentleman wouldn't be saying what he said. See, this is the problem. People, they say certain things, a trait, I'm a gentleman, but you didn't behave like a gentleman. Do you understand? So there's a conflict in your action versus your words. Why? Probably because of the way that he actually views Devyne. I think, you know what? One, you can say maybe Terrell's just an idiot, but if Terrell and Mike both have the same mentality towards Devyne, what are they seeing that's causing them to behave in a certain way? And I think what they're seeing from Devyne isn't necessarily what Devyne is doing. I think it's the fact that she has a certain look which comes out looking like it's bougie. And I think that's the main thing. I think it's not necessarily that she's done anything per se. I think she just has a look that looks bougie. And I think sometimes when you feel like you're out of your league, you either undercompensate or you overcompensate. And the sexual lyrics that both Mike and Terrell were using were evidences of their mindset being in the gutter. You know what? It's nothing wrong with you thinking that a girl looks bad, and the body bad, and the breast and the bum bad, everything looking crisp. Nothing wrong with that, yeah? But when you speak out and say what Terrell said, especially, like, I wish I could replay it, but we can't do audio, and say what he said, then you sexualize a woman and objectify her. And in the 21st century, unfortunately, that don't work. And I'm not saying that's even something that should be right in the past. No, it's wrong in general. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a girl just said, oh, you know what, you just look like you got big balls, and I just can't wait to just see if, you know what I'm saying, like, how do you swing, how's it swing down there? And like, fam, what kind of chat is that? No one's gonna want that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's tough enough when a girl tries to come on to you too much, and you're like, come on, relax. So let alone if a guy's not objectifying a woman. This is the kind of red flags that I think when you're younger, you may not pick up on. That when men switch the ground of conversation to sexual things, you got to be able to test, or you got to be able to analyze, is this a momentary conversation where we're both going to, or is this something that you're just trying to do? You see, if you're both going down that lane of conversation, ain't never going to be a problem. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about a point where it's the mixer, it's the getting to know you stage, and man's just dropping the sexual lyrics. Now, beware of those type of guys. They are red flags. Do not try to date those type of guys. They cannot be changed. Their viewpoint on you won't change. If they came to you and started dropping that sexual bar straight away, my friend, and you're not looking to go down that lane, then you know already this is not the type of guy I want. Yeah, that's a straight facts. No chaser, baby. it was interesting as well when I was watching them just behave. You know, the first comment that he actually made, she actually smiled, and then she kind of turned her head, and then it was like, you know, and she laughed. And the reason why she did that is because, okay, the first comment that was made, look, it may have been a little bit, but it was still a compliment at the end of the day. It was like, you know, I've noticed your booty's kind of cute, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. It was not okay, but it was, she could deal with it, right? If you had left it there, it would have been fine. But if you watch her, what she was coming out, she gave him a chance to leave it. If you watch her, she gets progressively annoyed. If you watch Devyne, she progressively gets annoyed. You can see her face progressively getting annoyed, and you can see her just like her face becoming hardened. And at that point, she's turning off the conversation. So red flag, guys. You see that behavior? We don't like it. Comparing it to Mike and her conversation, you know, I think one of the first comments that was made was about, you know what, you can get closer, I don't bite, unless you want me to, I think he said. And it wasn't taken badly. And the reason why it wasn't taken badly is because actually, Devyne actually thought he was a good-looking guy, and actually Devyne actually found some attraction towards him. How do we know that? You know, she said she felt a little bit salty about the fact that he hadn't come to speak to her during the course of the first mixer. So already she's already shown her hand by saying, look, I thought you was, you know, a decent guy, good-looking guy, and I thought we could have had a conversation. But unfortunately, we didn't have it, and I felt a little bit salty. That lets you know, Mandim, you can chill now. You ain't got to even impress. All you got to do now is just be you. Unfortunately, I don't know what Mike was on, and maybe he was coming there for the sex. Obviously, man wasn't really ready for the actual relationship, because she's giving you the open door to say, listen, look, let's have a conversation, because actually, I actually find you, you know, attractive, or I'm intrigued enough to want to get to know you more, right? I'm giving you a platform. But then you decide to twist it. You decide to take it further. He decides to take it further. And unfortunately, he says something like, you know what, when I first, and this is what I say, look, and when he first said, he said, he made a comment about her being a bit bougie, right? Now, again, you know, you've got to qualify the statement. When I mean qualify the statement, it means you got to be able to say something negative, or we call it EBI, but even better, yeah? Even better if, EBI, we call it even better if. So you could have said, listen, look, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first saw you, I thought you was a little bit bougie, and you know what, I was absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Like, as I've spoken to you and seen you, watched you moved, I realised that I made a judgment and it's an error on my part, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? And he could have saved it that way, but man didn't. Man didn't even save it that way. Why? I think because, you see, when you don't care about something anymore, you treat it like trash. Let me tell you something. Mike and Terrell did not care about Devyne to get to know her. They just wanted sex. And they didn't care if they got it or they didn't get it. That's why they spoke to her in the same way. Look, when you are feeling somebody and you genuinely like them, the conversation that comes out your mouth is different. Why? There's a level of respect. But there was no respect given to Devyne during the course of both conversations, because both parties who she was dealing with just wanted sex. And it was evident through the way that Mike was even watching her. Man was just looking at her like a piece of meat. Bruh, what are you doing, dog? And I say what you're doing because this is not the type of girl you can do that to. Again, you got to read those signs. Like, look, you can be that sexual, but it's not the right type of girl. You know what I'm saying? If you've got the right type of girl, this can work, this can wash. But Devyne is not that type of girl. So you got to change your tactic in the sense of just be like, play it cool. Like, the girl's already told you that she's kind of feeling, we got time. The girl's already told you that she's kind of feeling you, so why are you stressing about it? Why are you doing extras? You know what I'm saying? Almost like you're catcalling. Like, bro, there was no need. It's a wasted opportunity. And that's what actually caused him to go home, because, you know what? Maybe she would have vouched for him against the other girls, but unfortunately, my man had been doing it to everybody else. He's just there for sex. He wasn't a serious candidate. And that's I felt like Mike was struggling to connect with Devyne. There was a lack of a general connection, a lack of emotional investment in Devyne, and we saw the same thing with actually Mike and Alexis, and we'll come on to the Mike and Alexis, we'll segue into that as well. But he had the same problem with Alexis. There was a lack of conversation, a lack of able to ask the right questions to actually unlock a conversation. Maybe there's a bit too much it was a bit. The questions weren't really open-ended and weren't really engaging, and he himself wasn't engaged, I guess. So that made the conversation unengaging, and that forced Alexis's hand. Although I think Alexis never really fancied him anyway, so it was never really going to go anywhere. But it could have been a chance for a conversation. Do you know what I'm saying? And a chance to actually have an insight into her. But she was definitely not feeling him, I don't think. And I'll explain that later on as well when we see the footage as well. For me, I think it's just a case of, you know what, Devyne is maybe unfortunate with the guys that came up to her after London. No respect. I think they see the body, and again, this is the problem with situations that people see a body on a girl and then automatically associate with sex, because pornography has whitewashed our minds into the way that we think about women. We sexualize them. The way that TV and media presents curvaceous women, we sexualize them. And so what happens is you sexualize them because you have been fed by the media, and that's bringing out an output. The Bible says, listen, it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, it's what comes out of him that will defile him. Why? Because it's not what you're seeing that you're really being defiled. You're being defiled when you're showing your defilement when you begin to speak it in your mouth and begin to behave in a certain way. So you see from Mike and Terrell, Mike, especially with the body language, was defiled. The way he was speaking about Devyne and the way he was looking at Devyne was wrong. Terrell also, with the fact that he kept on commenting on her booty all the time. Like, fam, you can't keep doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? That's an error. Like, what part of the conversation did you get confidence to be able to speak like that? She wasn't giving you anything back, so why did you keep on going? And that's the problem with certain people. They don't take the hints and the cues. And not only that, they obviously as well have an agenda, which is to sleep with you ladies. So you can see in this game, ladies, the way that a man's talking to you, take note. The way he's looking at you, take note. You understand? Ain't nothing wrong with looking at a girl like you want to just eat her up. I ain't saying that, but it's the right time, right season, right moment. You know what I'm saying? From the very jump, you're looking at a girl, you want to eat her up. Then, bro, like girls, I want you to be careful with them kind of guys. You know what I'm saying? He's sexy, cute, but he looks like he's gonna eat you up first time go. He ain't looking for a relationship more than likely. Again, these are cues. These are clues. Cool. And that will segue into our Devyne and Alexis as well. I think that was like I said, Devyne, London and Alexis as well. Where are we at? How many minutes got left? 1 minute.